So the idea is that life is a mystery. It was Albert Einstein, the greatest mind of the 20th century, Albert Einstein, who said life is a mystery. Those same sentiments were ushered by pop singer Madonna in the song Like a Prayer. She said life is a mystery. That's the opening phrase, that's the opening statement from the song. Life is a mystery. Everyone must stand alone. That is what Einstein said. And those sentiments were echoed by Madonna. So, life being a mystery is where that's the jumping off point from where I would like to take this podcast episode. I heard a story today from my uncle about how he had he had this conversation with his wife, my aunt, and later on in the day, he came across a book, and upon opening the book and opening the book to a particular page and reading the contents of that particular page, he found a synchronicity. A he found exactly the topic that he had discussed with his wife, my aunt, in the book on that particular page. The exact same topic, the exact same comments that he made were expressed in this book. Imagine that. How in the world does that happen? Whereby the same content, the same opinions, the same conclusions, he and my aunt drew to whatever topic they were discussing, were basically right there in front of them in this book. This was the situation, the scenario, and then this was the outcome, or this was the conclusion that was presented in the book. The book was not the Bible. It was not the Bible, but it was a book that mentioned Bible verses. So the Bible was referenced in this book, but the book was not the Bible. But the page that he opened the book to, that it matched. And it was such a revelation. It was such a spooky, it was such a moment that he told my aunt, told his wife. He said, hey, we were just talking about this, word for word. This, and look, this is exactly the conclusion that we drew right here. And it was the most bizarre, experience that he conveyed to me. And so when I thought about that, I thought about, of course, the IC 10-9 experiences that I've had, and my moments, my synchronous moments when I encountered the numbers in under very peculiar circumstances. Like, how does that happen? How does that even happen? I wasn't looking for those numbers, and yet here they are. They found me. How did that happen? So, synchronicity and serendipity and Einstein. Einstein says that that life is a mystery. So that's where we are. Um, yesterday, some students asked me, what's the difference between the atomic bomb and the nuclear bomb? In the moment that they asked me the question, my response was, there is no difference. They're the same thing, it's just two different names. And the students took my answer and they sort of looked surprised. And I wondered if I answered their question correctly. I thought they were trying to stump me. At least slightly, I did have that suspicion. Were they trying to stump me? Had they discussed this answer with their teacher, their chemistry teacher, and they wanted to know if I had if I knew the answer too? Maybe I thought maybe somehow I had given off the air that I was a know-it-all, that I knew some things, and they were trying to stump me. Like, let's see if he knows. I don't know. Well, anyhow, later on, I did some research because the question bugged me, and I thought, am I right? I thought, wow, that was a quick response that I gave them. In the moment that they asked me, I responded immediately, confidently. And then I thought about it and I said, well, am I right? Let me check the answer. So I checked. I did a fact check on for this question. Come to find out, no, I was not correct. There's so many details that I overlooked or that I'm ignorant of. I'm not a chemist. I'm not the best person to ask that of. They certainly should not have asked me. Um, the there are differences from what I've learned, from what I've read. There are differences. There are three types of major bombs: the nuclear, the atomic, and the hydrogen. Nuclear, atomic, and hydrogen. And there's the thermonuclear, the nuclear, and the hydrogen, right? Thermonuclear or the atomic. I think that's. See, I'm not even certain as to what I read. I don't even remember it all. But I remember reading these words: thermonuclear, okay, or nuclear. Yeah, probably that's how it goes. Atomic, and then hydrogen. I remember those three being the distinctions, like weapons of mass destruction, having basically those three categories. And then there was some mention about, well, I don't even remember at this point. The only other thing that I can think of that I was reminded of is the fact that when the bombs, whatever they're called, whatever they were, when those bombs were dropped in Japan on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, one bomb was made with plutonium and the other was made with uranium. And I thought to myself, maybe that's the difference between the types of bombs or the names of the bombs. It's one is made from plutonium and the other is made from uranium. I don't know. And I wouldn't be able to tell you definitively which one was, the little boy or the fat man. I wouldn't be able to tell you. The little boy is the name of the bomb that landed on Hiroshima, and Hiroshima was first, and then the fat man was came 3 days later in Nagasaki, right? And if I'm not mistaken, Fat Man contained uranium and Little Boy contained plutonium, or was created with using plutonium. I'm not certain, but yeah. So anywho, that's what I wanted to talk about. Life is a mystery. Albert Einstein said that. Albert Einstein was the greatest mind of the 20th century. And Madonna, a pop star, echoed those same sentiments. In case the world hadn't heard it uttered from the greatest mind of the 20th century, Madonna stepped up to say, I'll share it with the world so they'll know. And she put it in her song. I think that's about it. Isn't that interesting how the world works and how things happen and how things fall into place, when we least expect it? I'm Larry Wiggs. This is the IC109 podcast. Peace and blessings. And I'm out in 4, 3, 2, 1. Bye.